Welcome to today's conversation. I'm Gerda, and I'm honored to be joined by Signe Dauskane-Plateace, the creator of Doctor as a Healer and Signe Inspiration, a mentor, a transformation coach, supporting doctors in reconnecting with themselves and their calling. Hello, Signe. How are you today?
Hi, Gerda. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. How's it going?
It's December and we finally met here.
So, actually, before we go deeper into the doctor as a healer, I'd love to take a step back for a moment because every mission begins with the personal story, right? So, maybe I can ask you a very first question, which would be, can you tell us a little bit about the journey as a doctor and what led you to the work you're doing today?
Thank you for the question. That way was not easy, not fast, not like everyone would do, but this was my own way. So I started at the age of 13 working in a hospital. And by then, I thought that I will become a musician or artist, but no way a doctor. But from the first sight at the surgical room, I fell in love with medicine instantly. And all of a sudden, my dream was to become a surgeon. That was a huge shock for my family and for everyone around me who knew me back then. But so I said, that's my decision. And I just want to be a doctor. I want to help people. I want to help them survive. And I want to be in medicine. And then in 1992, I started my studies at medical school in Latvia. Of course, we have different medical studying system than in America. So I started my studies in Latvian Medical Academy. And let's say in 6-7 years, I graduated. But this was the time when medicine in post-Soviet Union countries went through major, I would say, crisis, major turning points in every possible aspect, in treatment plans, guidelines, in equipment, and in everything. So, and also in salaries. And all of a sudden, doctors were one of the poorest people in the country because the salaries were very extremely low. And to survive, many doctors were forced to accept illegal payments from patients directly. And I realized that this is not my way. I wouldn't sleep good at night doing this. And I realized that something is wrong here or missing. And then I was introduced to law because I met one person who became very important in my life, like a role model. Yeah, and I became very much interested in law. And soon after that, I discovered that Latvian medical system is very far from legal regulations. Uh, Doctors live by their means, maybe by evidence-based guidelines, but as everything in this life actually requires some basic attachment to legal aspects, medical law, patient rights, etc. And so I became very much interested in medical law. And up to 2008, I was so much involved with legal aspects. I created Patient Rights Office of Latvia in 2001, right after graduation from medical school and right after I started my studies in law. And those years were very intensive. I started exploring what does actually means medical law, patient rights, and all those relationships in between patients and doctors and medical system. And me and my colleagues, we initiated Patient Rights Law of Latvia. And it took several years to actually have this law in force in my country, in my home country. And of course, I was working with medical professionals ever since by teaching, by guiding, by explaining, because my natural gift is to explain very complicated matters in a very simple way. And I love doing this. So that's why maybe I'm here as well, because I also loved explaining complicated, let's say, esoteric aspects, metaphysical aspects, quantum physics aspects into the simple words for everyone to understand. And then in 2008, I created, at that point, the best medical clinic in Latvia, which looked like one of the members of huge medical clinic chain, because everyone who came to my clinic always asked, "Oh, do you belong to some American medical clinic chain or European?" And at first I was like, why do you ask me such a question? But then people said, everything is so up to the point and so perfect. It can't be that this is just one separate clinic. But my answer was always this clinic maybe is really unique because I'm the creator, the founder of that with my teams, of course. But in the center of medical system should be patient. This is what I strongly believe in. And that's why I created my first clinic, Premium Medical, in Riga, because I wanted to show medical system. I wanted to show my colleagues working in hospitals and other clinics that if you fully see that medical system is not created for doctors or from system itself, but for patients, then medical system and medical processes looks totally different. Because right now, I strongly believe worldwide, none of the systems sees people involved in this way. They always think and they always focus on how it's easier for system, how it's more convenient, how to make the system work for doctors benefit or big pharma benefit or guideline benefit or whatever, but not the patient. And yeah, this was a huge problem and it still is. And looking at the processes worldwide, I see that this process is even deepened in the past 2 decades, and that everything becomes very systemized. Systems don't see each person as a person, but just as a member of the huge system. And yeah, I tried with my clinic to show that there is a way to work differently. There is a way to look at what you do as a doctor differently. And I really love my first clinic, which we opened in January of 2008. When I was educating medical professionals back then for 15 years, actually, this was the process when I not just held some lectures or explained complicated theories or theoretical material or law, interpretation of law for doctors, but also very new and unique concepts came to me. And back then I thought, oh, this is me who created those concepts. But only in the past 5-6 years, when I'm working as a healer, mentor, and transformation coach, I understand now that all those concepts came to me in a process of channeling, actually. And they were very unique, very powerful. And every time when I presented such concepts to doctors, they said, Signe, why no one is teaching this at the medical school? Why this is not in the books? Why no one is talking about this? And back then, I didn't really think about it. You know, I was just explaining, I was just inspiring my colleagues to become better doctors, because this is what's important. You know, if you are better doctor, if you know who you are, if you see your role truly as it's meant to be, then you are doctor with a capital D. And so, if you are listening to this, I believe you are definitely the one who has this potential. And what means potential? You are open to dig deeper. You are open to find what's missing in your current life as a doctor, and you want to change something. Even if you are here and you are listening to me just by coincidence, you know, there is no coincidence, doctor. You are here because you are ready. And my understanding is throughout those 25 years working in a medical system in very different positions, I walked in a very different shoes, you know, and I see that the point is you never really accepted that besides your education, your academic knowledge, your understanding of guidelines or procedures, there is you, doctor. And you see yourself maybe as a little screw in a huge mechanism who has to do what you have to, you know? And this is a problem. Because behind every consultation, there is not only patient and illness or diagnosis, there is also you as a professional and as a personality. But system, I would say, hate this idea, because this is very inconvenient to see that you, doctor, you are important. System don't love that. System just want you to prescribe what you should. This medicine, that medicine, you should send patient to expensive treatments or expensive examinations. And so you just make money for system. Unfortunately, this is the naked truth. But you are way more, way, way, way more. And if you focus on your inner knowledge, and if you see patient as a whole, the outcome of this visit, of this consultation, would be totally different. Believe me. This is not just the concept itself. This is what really impacts outcome of the consultation. And your patient is coming to you, not for those prescriptions or examinations or just diagnosis. Your patient comes to you seeking for healing. And healing is a very powerful and multidimensional word. You can heal your patient with your prescriptions, which is good, fine. This is what you have to do because you are a licensed specialist. But what your patients actually seek coming to you is your healing power. They are looking for healer within you. They are looking for support, your heart, your deep understanding, and your energy. If you would don't deny your healing abilities coming from previous incarnations, in simple words, from your previous lives, then you would see that every consultation, in outpatient clinics or in hospital beds, with your patients would be different, because you would not focus so much on what you learned in this life. You would focus more on your gut feeling, intuition, what you see, what you feel, what you read from the field of your patients. And you will communicate with your patient on a very, very different level. So it's a multidimensional level, and only working like this with your patients, you can actually expect for outstanding results, health results in your patients. And when you sometimes wonder why your colleague in a medical school or your colleague in a hospital or outpatient clinic, why this colleague has such a huge, audience wishing to visit this doctor. Es nezinu, es kaut kā stulbi pateicu. So when you are wondering why one doctor is very popular amongst patients and another one is not, the real answer is your colleague, which is popular among people. This doctor has a heart. This doctor has the ability to open their heart when working with people. Of course, they follow protocols. Of course, they follow guidelines when needed. But most of the time, they are in their healing field because they don't deny their healer within. Think about it. Think about it. Maybe push the pause button and think about this concept for a minute. Do you feel like you have this healing abilities? Do you feel like you have previous lives as a healer of different kinds? And if yes, think about it. Who would you become if you wouldn't deny those abilities? If you would acknowledge that you are more than just a graduate from your medical school.
May I ask you, how did you end up in the States? What is the journey for you from Latvia to States?
So honestly, I never really wanted to come to America to live here, but the life just happened, and my family moved from Latvia to California in 2015. And ever since, we are here, and I love being there. It's a beautiful country of opportunities, and country of nice people. Since 2008, I'm a business mentor. Then since 2011, I am a coach. And in the past 6 years, I'm also a healer. And so being a mentor for people is what I really love to do, because you can't go to any university or courses to become a mentor. You can become a mentor only based on your own experience, on your own life, professional and private. When you become the one who is highly sought from the other people to come for advices. And honestly, since I remember myself, maybe even since childhood, since my elementary school years, I've always experienced that people are coming to me, asking for questions, telling their life, pouring out their problems, and up to the age of 35, I thought this is just a normal way and everyone is this way. And so only in the past maybe 15 years, I know, and I became to this realization that this is something in my field, that people feel safe with me, that people want to share their deepest and most sensitive topics with me. And my ability to see the root of your problem is something what I was born with, actually.
Would you like to describe the process? How did you become a healer?
That's an interesting story because, as you, doctor, as me, at first we had this medical doctor degree, diploma, and certification, and everything. And yeah, for a while, I believed that medical guidelines are the magical cure of medicine. So, but then after several burnouts, chasing my ambitions and being guided by my ego, creating businesses in Latvia and in America, I realized that this is not me and I'm way more. What means way more? I started exploring my options. I started exploring who I am with very different methods. And when 6 years ago, in the autumn of 2019, I studied my first healing method, and back then it was timeline healing. I fully realized that healing is my pathway, that I love to help people with different methods of healing. And so by now it's December 2025. In my pocket, I have several methods, modalities, approaches, how I can help my clients. And each of them has very different stories, very different problems, so very different situations. And I always find the best way to help them. So I really love working with people one on one, even though everyone says you have to create group programs. That's nice. That's very different because I work with my Latvian audience in a group settings for the past 5-6 years. But actually, when I work one on one, the results are outstandingly deep, transformational, and my clients are really ready to change their lives for good.
Are you telling us that all of us can be healers?
No, because it takes a very specific mindset. It takes very specific inner settings to feel other people. And for me, since I remember myself, the main motivation always was to see that after talking to me, people are ready for change, for transformation. And that's a very awkward motivation, right? Because it's something what happens not with me, but with you, let's say. But I feel so happy when I see that people are changing their lives. I also work on my life. I change a lot. I grow. I have quantum leaps, and they make me happy for a while, of course. And I'm very satisfied with my pathway. But when I see those results in people around me, even long before they were my clients or paid clients, this is my motivation. And believe me or not everyone can feel this way. And so many people nowadays are so much focused on money and something visible, touchable. But those things what I'm talking about, you cannot directly touch them or weight them or compare them. It's just about a inner world of someone else. And after that change in their inner world, they are ready to change something on a physical level of their lives. And so when I see this, I am instantly happy. And it's like, yeah, he did it or she did it. And so, yeah, this is just me. Maybe sometimes it can look weird, but this is the way I am.
But how do these doctors who know and see themselves as more than doctors, let's say healers, but let's say they are afraid to go this route, right? How can they trust their gut feeling when there's all these medical protocols, all these policies involved? How can they approach big decision to go this route and trust their gut feeling and become their inner healer?
So the first step is to make this decision. I want to go that route. Because no one can do it for you. No one can help you from the outside if you are in denial. So first, yes, I'm ready for such route. Second, start thinking, why do you feel bad working as a doctor? Because I know so many of you are considering on everyday basis, maybe I should leave medicine. Maybe I should become someone who has less responsibilities, less liability, and so making even bigger money than I do, right? So it's possible for you to feel in your shoes very differently, more confident, more easy, and more in the, I would say, flow. And what means flow and confidence? It's not what you can learn in a medical school or any other school. This is what comes from within. And when you start asking those questions, believe me or not, sooner or later, the answers will come. Actually, sooner, because if you are ready for a long time, but you never articulated this feeling that, yes, I'm ready. So now I really suggest you to start being interested in a topic of previous lives, in a topic of healers, shamans, medical men and women, every other type of professional who any other type of professionals who worked with people in the previous centuries and even in the previous thousands of years. Because since the day people were on this planet Earth, someone always had to help them when they were in a medical problems. Let's say broken leg or pain in the ear, whatever it was, there was someone in the tribe who took care of those in need. So that's a very, very long way our society went from such a very primitive healers to medical professionals of 21st century with outstanding equipment, knowledge, and everything. So start being open to this knowledge of previous lives. Why? I'll explain you. I know that you feel burned out. You feel constantly anxious. You feel like you lost your purpose, your meaning of what you are doing. At least once a week, you feel like, when I become a doctor, or when I was 16 and I was thinking about becoming a doctor, my dream was to help people. My dream was to heal. My dream was to be a professional who does this or that. Now you feel like you are an administrator who is responsible for filling out the paperwork, who is responsible for saving money for insurance companies, but you don't feel like you do what you had to do, what you have to do, why you become a doctor. So this thing is completely messed up, but your inner feeling is still the way it was 20 years ago, 30 years ago, maybe even 40 years ago. And I can help you to remember those lives. I can help you to get back your power as a healer while you are still in a Western medicine, being a family doctor, gynecologist, psychiatrist, or neurosurgeon. Doesn't matter what is your role in current life. We are talking about your power and healing abilities coming from your previous incarnations, and you definitely have them. if you are listening to me right now.
May I ask regarding stress and anxiety, which is also something that you like to talk a lot about, especially about doctors' burnouts? I guess my question is, what are some of the common signs that doctors may be anxious or overwhelmed, even if they don't necessarily talk about it, but how can they notice them?
I think the most easiest way is ask yourself, how do you feel in the morning before you have to go to your work? Do you feel like you are silently happy? You are in silent inner agreement with your day, with your coming day. If no, there is a problem. What exactly is your problem? It's hard to say from the distance. Is it burnout? Is it depression or anxiety or something else? Doesn't matter. In this case, doesn't matter what that is. But those inner feelings that something is wrong, you shouldn't ignore, because those are your first signs that you have to change something in your life, that you maybe have to seek for a help, for support from the outside. And there are so many different professionals who could help you if you would acknowledge and if you would not refuse that you have a problem, right? And then it's your responsibility to choose wisely to whom you are going for help, because I highly value my colleagues, psychotherapists, who are doctors and who studied for long, long years. But psychotherapy can help in a very, very limited situations. So that's why I really suggest you to find someone who can look deeper, help deeper, someone who can see not only this incarnation of your life, because maybe in only 10 or 15% of your problems, you can find the roots in this current life. The rest comes from your ancestral line. Yes, yes, I know you are now very, very curious. What do you mean ancestral line? Yes, those are programs coming from your parents, grandparents, etc. And also your current life problems come from your previous incarnations. I will give you one example focused on specifically medical doctors. Why you are avoiding your healing abilities, why you are avoiding the concept of previous lives. I'll tell you. Because only in the past 70 years since human rights are enforced, we can feel more safe. What do I mean with this? 100 years ago and 500 years ago, even more, no one was protected from someone who was furious about you, let's say, about your professional work or what you did to them. There were no really court system like today in place. When if you have some problems with someone, you go to the court and then you solve your problem with someone who is in the middle of you and that person. So back then people were solving their problems directly. I am not happy with you, so I can beat you up. Yeah, so simple. Or I can even kill you and nothing will gonna happen to me, and especially if I'm in power. And we, as a healers in previous lives, really suffered from our clients, because, as you know, in the current medical system, you can never tell your patient, I can help you 100%. It's impossible. People are dying in hospitals and at home. Even being under the medical system, even being under supervision of medical professional, right? I think you really understand what I'm talking about. So in a previous lives, let's say in the 16th century, 11th century, 5th century, when you were medical professional, but let's say shaman or medicine man or medicine woman, of course you had not successful outcomes with patients. And so what happened then? If that person, your previous patient, was rich or powerful, they can go after you, you know? And we all were burned on the stake. We all have lifetimes when we were sent out, excluded from our tribes, from the villages we used to live. And so back then, that meant that you are dying slowly, painfully, and in a real desperation. And when you die in such a situation, you promise to yourself, you give a vow to yourself: I will never ever help people again. I will never ever work in a helping, let's say, in a healing systems. And you keep this vow on a soul level, coming to every next incarnation. But on the other side, you have this feeling that you still want to help people. And then you were born, let's say, in 20th century. And you see with your logical mind around that, oh, this is 20th century. It's safe now. There is official medical doctors who are certified, who has diploma. You can put diploma on the wall behind you. And this is safe. No one will gonna kill you. And you decide, oh, I can become a medical doctor and no one will kill me again, or no one will exclude me from the tribe. I will be a medical doctor. I will be respected among people and in the society. And yes, you become a medical doctor, but on the other hand, you keep your vow not to help people. And that's when you totally exclude that healing part from your personality. And you say to everyone, in this lifetime, I'm just a medical doctor. Don't even talk to me about healing. Don't even tell me that there's energy body or something else. No, there's just examinations, medicine, pharmacy, and this is what I have to do. But actually, you are way more. Again, we are coming to the same point. You are way more. And when you stop denying what means I'm a medical doctor and I'm way more, then your way to your healing as a doctor in 21st century can begin.
Expanding on the topics that you already touched base, what advice would you give to, say, it's a young medical student and they want to basically avoid this burnout, right, that you spoke about earlier, and they want to become their best version in their life and still help the patient?
Talking to my young colleagues who are now in a medical school or considering becoming a medical doctors, follow your heart. If your decision to become a doctor, it comes from within, and you feel like this is the only thing in the world I want to do, I want to help people, then it's okay. Go that route and you will become an excellent doctor. But if you are becoming a doctor because your mom wants you to become a medical doctor, or you feel like, oh, then I will be respected in society, please don't. This is not the right thing to do in your case. Maybe you will be more successful in any other professional realization.
And what would you say, what kind of doctors usually come to you, and like what kind of problems they usually come with?
Of course, burnout. In many cases, they already have some medical problems being a doctors. Of course, they searched high and low to find out new treatments, new diagnostics, whatever, but they still have some medical problems. Some of them have more mental problems. As I mentioned, depression, burnout. ADHD, and also PTSD sometimes. But there are a group of doctors. I was working in a past several years who has diagnosis like oncology, like and endocrinology problems, digestive issues. Because listen, if you are not listening to your gut feeling, if you are not listening to your soul and to your higher self, at first they are giving you a little signs, little things, which could in normal situation lead someone to realization that something is wrong in my life. But if you are a medical doctor, you are pretty stubborn. And you think that you are more wise, you are smarter, and you can trick the medical system and you can trick your own health. But unfortunately, that is not the case. And I really suggest you not to wait until you have serious illnesses and serious diagnosis, but listen to your uh, gut feeling, listen to those signs you are having every day, I'm sure, and start with opening your mind that there is a possibility that you can live differently, that you can work differently, that you can have a very different attitude to yourself, to your patients, and to medical system in general. I promise you that is possible.
I feel like this is also very good point of view, not only to doctors but also to any sort of like any people, basically any person, because everybody's always struggling with some health issues, right? And it always comes from the gut. And
Yes.
I'm also on the path to learn that. So thank you for explaining that. And one of the questions I really want to ask you now, have you seen doctors truly change after working through burnout? And maybe you can give us some details what shifted for them.
First of all, be patient. You are not listening to your signs and higher self for decades. And when you start seeking for help, at first you think, oh, everything will be fine the next morning. This is not how it works. And I will not gonna lie, it takes time. It takes patience and it takes some efforts from yourself, doctor. What means efforts? First of all, again, you have to be with an open mind at first, then with open heart, and not open heart to your surroundings, but open heart to yourself. But if you are 40, 50, 60, or 70, and you survived through everything you've gone through, believe me or not, your heart is almost 100% closed. And it takes some time for both of us to work together. It takes some commitment. It takes some serious attitude to yourself so that you allow me to guide you through this process with a deep love, trust, and respect. And sooner or later, you will feel that you feel like lighter in your body, that you feel like more connected to yourself, that you find the meaning again in your existence. And those feelings are something what you cannot buy, something what you cannot have like this. I want it and give me this. No, it takes serious commitment and changes in lifestyle, changes in attitude, and changes in how you see yourself. But I can help you.
And how do you deal with community who think otherwise?
That's okay. If someone is not ready, they are not ready. I'm not here to crack you up. I'm here to show you that I can support you when you are ready.
Are there any upcoming programs or retreats, events you're hosting in the upcoming months so our listeners can also join?
Yeah, end of January, there will be a master class, and also at the beginning of the February. So if you are interested, we will leave the name of the master class and details so you can join. This will be free master class for medical professionals, and I will be happy to meet you over there. Dear doctor, if this conversation was interesting for you, or you had some aha moment, I'll be happy if you'll share with me your feedback, if you will tell me your story. And also, I would love to learn if you are ready to change your life for the better.
So thank you so much, Signe. It was amazing having you here. I guess we'll have to meet in another episode to learn more about you and your journey. And thank you, everybody, for listening.
Thank you. Bye.